It's good to be back. So I'm actually excited about what's happening right now in healthcare because all the stuff we've been talking about for literally, I don't know, like over a decade is starting to come to fruition. And this whole study out of Harvard just totally proves it.
Take a minute and rewind to February of 2020 when we did an episode on the coronavirus and it was blowing people's minds in March. And I remember having a couple discussions. I mean, let's be honest, where I said, hey, should we maybe take this down? Because I'm not sure that this is going to land well. Yeah. I mean, we believe what we believe, but is it going to sit?
Yeah.
And you know,
at the time it went over like a lead balloon.
Like a lead balloon for sure. But true to form for you, which I love. I love this about you. You were like, absolutely not. We keep it. This is what we said. We said what we said. And you can still go back today and hear it. And what the cool thing is that, you know, time, right, just tells. Like the truth is the truth. The truth is everlasting.
Yeah.
Time tells. Time reveals all things. And so now we're sitting here, 5 years later.
Can you believe it's been that long? And you look like you haven't aged a day.
No, it's babe. You look great.
Thanks.
You're
I appreciate
so
that. No, it's so accurate because I think, we've been talking like this for, I say a decade. It's going on 2 decades. And that's what I love about chiropractic and really the principle when it comes to not just chiropractic, but like natural healthcare practitioners, generally speaking, are always ahead of the curve.
Sure.
Right? Because, I don't know if we're ahead of the curve or medicine due to if you're investing into technology and equipment and you're investing into like mammography and all these different things, right?
Yep.
It's so expensive that you have to pay it off over time. So you're always like 10 years behind.
Sure.
Like that, in my experience, like chemotherapy wouldn't be allowed to even be a drug today if it had to be approved by today's standards. Mammography shouldn't exist today,
right? Because
of thermography and things that aren't even available in medicine yet. So I always thought that like chiropractors were ahead of the curve. The reality is I think medicine's always like just so behind.
Right.
And so what you're saying is so true. Like we were saying stuff at the very beginning and can we make a promise we're not going to use the word
Corona?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, unless we're talking about going on vacation and having like a Corona extra.
Sure.
Like we should not even talk about that term anymore because it's just, honestly, it's antiquated. Nobody cares.
Right.
And maybe this will be the episode that we pay for because last time I said this, it was like the whole world went crazy.
Right.
But I'd like to agree to not, get down that road. But I do think like in the last 5 years, it's been so funny to see truth just come out, like doctors leaving medicine, Casey Means, and these people that are just like, but this was what caught my eye. And this just happened. This was, in the last several years, and it's been coming out more and more and more. In fact, Time Magazine ran an article on it back in 2018. So this isn't new, but it's starting to become more and more prevalent.
Yeah.
And this was interesting, but annual visits.
Yes. Listen, there's a few things that feel like they're is sacred cow the right word?
Yeah.
Like they're these things that are so sacred to people that are pillars. They're just fundamental. Like when you go someplace, I remember I was at a girl. I'm a lot of fun at a party. We had a girls' night, and there was some ladies, and we were all kind of like sitting around, and there was a girlfriend of mine who's more on the same page holistically with me, and a woman was saying like, "Who's your primary care doctor?" And my girlfriend said, "What? I don't have a primary care doctor." And that idea was unfathomable to this lady. I mean, she was just like, well, how? You have to have an established relationship. You have to have a primary care doctor. She was like, well, technically speaking, if you want to dig into it, my chiropractor is my primary care doctor. If you want to say something, she was like, but no, I don't have an established relationship. And she's like, well, what are you going to do if you have an emergency?
The last time I saw a doctor other than my chiropractor, I was 8 years old.
Right.
8.
Right.
8 years old.
And for a healthy individual, for somebody who's working on maintaining their, that's a pretty standard.
That should be common.
Be the standard. That should be the pillar of health. That should be what's common. And so this conversation really was eye-opening to me because sometimes when I'm out, in the real world, I there's a little bit more conversations that open my eyes and I'm like, oh my gosh, people really do think that they have to have this firm foundation of a primary care doctor.
Yeah.
And oh my God, what am I going to do if something happens? And what's interesting is in that exchange, when the woman was asking my friend, hey, what are you going to do if you have an emergency happen? She said, well, I can go establish a relationship with a primary care doctor if that happens, if there's something that I need to have that for. So I think going after and talking, really analyzing, turning over these rocks that we've just always done and why are we doing them, and really getting to the bottom of what we're doing and why we're doing it is so significant. And so this annual checkup conversation is long overdue.
Yeah. Well, you already know where I'm going, but for everybody else, I mean, this was incredible. Like verbatim, it says a yearly check-in with a doctor seems undeniably prudent. Like there are things that seem right? We'll get there in a second, but your doctor can check your blood pressure, do whatever. But like, let's be honest, you can go to Walmart nowadays and you can get a blood pressure cuff for like $12 or something like that.
Sure.
You know, right? You can check your own blood pressure.
Right.
You can get a spirometer, like you can breathe in it, or not even a spirometer. You can get a thing to check your SpO2. You can check your oxygen levels in your blood on your own.
Yeah.
You can check your own heart rate and rhythm.
Yep.
Like you can go to Walmart and for under $100, you can get
all the tools.
Everything that a doctor is going to check on your annual physical.
Yes. Right.
And with Google.
Right. You
can know what the normal values are. If you don't know your blood pressure is supposed to be 120/80, which it's not supposed to be, but that's for another time.
Sure.
You can go to ChatGPT right now and you can plug in all of your labs.
All your metrics. Sure.
And ChatGPT would tell you what things you could be doing to get yourself healthier. It's better than it, but
absolutely.
Get to this.
But this requires the onus of your health belongs to you. To you. But so this is for a group of people that are saying, I'm taking responsibility of my health. I'm taking the onus of my health in my own hands. I'm not handing it over to somebody else that I view as an authority and just having them tell me what to do.
Yeah, but why do we believe that? And why is that something that you feel anchored in, but other people feel equally as anchored in the idea that their doctor is that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
They feel exactly that same way, the same passion and strength and whatever. This woman's like, what do you mean? You
absolutely.
Like, you don't have a primary.
I mean, I thought she was going to march her out of that room right then to take her to a primary care.
Time magazine, and this is based out of research from Harvard.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, one of the most regarded institutions on the face of the planet when it comes to healthcare. While annual well visits are a familiar part of the healthcare system, a growing pile of evidence from Harvard finds that for healthy people without any symptoms, these yearly physician exams are a waste of time and money, and in some cases do more harm than good. That's literally the second paragraph in the article.
I mean, amen, guys. So let's go.
I mean, when you get into this, what they said was that going to a doctor on a regular basis. So I'll tell a quick story. This has nothing to do with health, except for I'll tie it in at the end. But my dad, for those of you guys who have watched or subscribed to us for a while, my dad was a ceramic tile installer, and he used to do a lot of commercial work. And I remember we were working in this brand new gas station. So the gas station wasn't open. It wasn't even built. It was, 4 walls and a roof. And we were laying the tile in it. And my dad was laying this tile and he reached forward and grabbed one of the tiles and twisted it out of, alignment. So like all the tiles lined up and then he just like twisted one crooked. And my dad was meticulous. I'm like, why is he doing that? And then the foreman for the job had walked up and the foreman was talking to him. Yeah. So if you guys don't know where this is going, you'll get it. The foreman's talking to him like, hey, Tom, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. And they're talking. And then at the very end, he was like, is that tile crooked? My dad looked, he's like, oh, that's crazy. It is. He turned it back. Thanks for catching that. I appreciate that. That's why they pay you the big bucks. Guy walks away, and all of a sudden I realized my dad twisted that tile out of alignment on purpose because the foreman's job is to find the problems.
Sure.
And my dad knew I'm going to give him an easy problem to find, and then he'll leave me alone, and he won't find some other thing that, and that's your medical doctor's job. Your medical doctor's job is to find the problems. So if you go in and you don't have any problems, they're going to keep looking until they find one frequently.
Sure.
And even if they find a small one, they'll make a mountain out of a molehill. I don't even know how I said that.
Right. Either way.
Molehill. They'll make a mountain out of a molehill, and Why did I do it again? They'll make a mountain out of a molehill. And
third time's a charm.
I don't even know how it works, how it goes.
All right.
But the reality is there are frequently times that you'll go in, you'll have high blood pressure today and it won't be high tomorrow or for the rest of your life. There'll be times that you go in and certain level, like you might have went on vacation and ate too much red meat and drank too much beer and your uric acid levels are high, but that doesn't mean you're going to end up with gout. Right. And like there's things that can happen today that might not be true tomorrow, but if you go in today and you get tested, they're going to find something. And then when they find it, what are they always, I don't want to say always, what are they frequently going to do? Start treating it.
Right.
And going back to medicine's 2 tools.
Yes.
And we'll call it 3: drugs, surgery, and then referral. Like those are the only things that they're going to do. Name a time that you've ever gone to a medical doctor and they found something wrong and it didn't result in either drugs, surgery, or a referral. And that referral could be to somebody who's, more preventative or, a physical therapist or whatever.
Sure.
Like they might not be prescribing drugs or surgery, but their tools are drugs, surgery, and referral.
Right.
And so frequently I'll ask people like, do you want more drugs? Do you want more surgery?
Yes.
And their answer is no, I don't want more drugs and surgery. Okay. Well, that's what your medical doctor is going to do if they find something wrong.
Yeah.
And their job is to find something wrong.
Right.
And so if you're an asymptomatic, healthy individual, why are we going to someone annually who's trying to find something wrong with you that may or may not be a problem? And the thing is, if it truly is a problem, typically the symptoms of most conditions that are concerning, they're not things that you're not experiencing, right?
Right.
Like there are people who literally feel great and they have a heart attack tomorrow. There wasn't a symptom your doctor was going to find.
Right. Right.
Like they were a healthy individual and had a heart attack. So like the big ones aren't things we're detecting anyway. You go in, they're like, oh, they can't find anything wrong with your blood pressure, your heart rate, this, that. And they're like, is that a mole? Have you been out in the sun a lot recently? Yeah. And next thing you know, you're down this whole rabbit hole of crazy stuff when it comes to other diagnoses, and like they're gonna find something.
Right. And like I think there's a couple points here that jump to mind. One of them, the first and biggest to me, is that let's not have the misconception here. Like it's not us versus them in terms of medical doctors. Like these guys are really good people. There's really good people in the medical field. I mean, there might be a few bad ones. There might be a few bad people in the holistic field too. Like it's not like nothing's blanket, but we have a lot of really good, well-intentioned, wonderful human beings that got into this, let's call it, this medical model, this allopathic care model. And they went to school and they worked hard and they did it because they loved people and they wanted to change their lives.
Well, they got into it because it was healthcare, but what they found out and what I've experienced talking to these, because I talk to these professionals all the time.
All the time.
We were, talking to someone a few weeks ago. His dad was a medical doctor. His wife went to medical school. Like we had a medical doctor in our office 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, why are you here? He said, I loved your messaging. I love what you guys talk about. I love this whole idea of natural healthcare. He was a DO. Right. DOs typically were more
lead a little more holistic. Yep.
So, but the idea was they got into it because it was healthcare, but they found out it was really sick care.
Exactly.
Like
and
that's the thing.
I'm only taking a brief pause in the conversation to just say that these people are not bad people. They're wonderful and they're well-intentioned. And that's why we're seeing this mass exodus in droves of medical doctors who are connecting with us, that are people on the more holistic,
Absolutely.
Connecting with you, doctors on the more holistic side of things, to say, hey, I got in here and I feel a little bamboozled. I feel like I signed up to change people's lives. And what really has happened once I'm in here is that I only have 2 tools. I'm only prescribing drugs and I'm only giving surgery. Like that's it. That's all I can do for a patient. What else can I do for a patient? And I think it's just really important to just establish that right off the bat, that like that there isn't this like bad guy, good guy dichotomy happening. Like there's a lot of well-intentioned people. And what's happening now is that we're seeing this massive shift in philosophy. And it's big to philosophically change from a mechanistic medical model, allopathic medicine, to a vitalistic approach is a huge shift. gift. And the beautiful thing is that the chiropractors chiropractors since the beginning of time are here to guide the way for those folks. And it's one of the most amazing things that you guys have this philosophy and you can teach them that. And it's like, it's just such a gift.
I love how fired up you get.
Anyway, yes, I do get fired up.
Excited.
Right,
so
right.
We're not even talking about making the shift from, we are. We're not talking about the shift from allopathy to holistic care. We're just starting with the shift of like not doing an annual exam. This was from Harvard. Right. You ready? This is great. What are the results and the true benefits of this practice? Talking about annual exams. You ready? Careful reviews. Harvard saying this. Careful reviews of several large studies have shown that these annual visits don't make any difference in health outcomes. In other words, being seen by your doctor once a year won't necessarily keep you from getting sick or even help you live longer. Like that, that right there.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
One more. As physicians and health care policy experts, the authors of this study at Harvard understand that it will be difficult for all of us to change this practice, although a number of professional guidelines recommend that physicians should no longer follow the tradition of this annual exam. So your friend who's going, who's your primary care? Like, no, Harvard's saying you shouldn't even have a primary care to go see for an annual exam. When should you go? When you have a problem.
Right.
And when you have a problem that can't be resolved or fixed through changing your lifestyle.
Right.
Like, and let's be honest, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and potentially even cancers can be largely influenced by your lifestyle.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying that if you find out you have cancer that you should never go see a doctor. I'm saying those three are literally referred to as diseases for dummies because they're largely prevented by lifestyle. And if they can be prevented by lifestyle, they can be influenced by lifestyle even in the midst of it. And so the reality is that we have an opportunity to change our mindset. And the first, and this is, I truly believe this, there's a scripture in the Bible. You might even look this one up for me for the reference, but there's a scripture that says there's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end of it is death.
Right.
And that, like, this whole annual exam thing is like, there's a way that seems right unto man, woman, whatever.
Yeah.
There's a way that seems right. You should go to your doctor, get checked up. Like, let them look under the hood. You take your car in every 3,000 miles.
Okay, so
why wouldn't you go? Mm-hmm. It's like, why would I have somebody? I'm not a machine. Right. I'm not a car. Right. I don't have belts that wear out.
Right.
I'm a living human being with literally the breath and life of God inside of me that works from the inside out. And the health of a car doesn't come from the inside out. Right. Once the car's put together, that's as good as it'll ever be. That's it.
It's not going to like express
and
life.
I think people actually think we're like that. I think it's like once you were born, that's the best you'll ever be. It's like, that's not true. There are people who changed their lives and they were wildly healthier in their 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah.
I remember there was like a video of a woman who started weightlifting in her 50s and like by 70, she was like in incredible health and her way better than she was in her 20s and 30s. You're arguably younger, healthier, had, people say youth is wasted on the young. But the reality is you can be healthier when you're older than when you were younger. Now, that's not ideal. We should just live out health the whole time. But you're not a vehicle that was created in 1981 and started breaking down 10 years later. Right. And then, needs to be rebuilt.
Things get better after you're born. And as evidence of that is like you stop pooping your pants at some point in time, right? Like that's like the clearest evidence that you can come up with, right? That like it actually gets better over time.
God.
But here's one thing that I would argue. I would argue that the annual physical really does more harm than good, specifically because of this, is that I think that there are a very large amount of people that are relying on this annual physical to keep them healthy. Like, right. And so they're not living in a way every single day that's building health in their life. What they're doing is they're checking a box. They're going, oh, I'm healthy because I went and saw my doctor this year. Oh, I do my annual physical every year in January because my insurance resets, every year in June because I, have met my deductible, every year in October because my deductible's hit. I can go do my annual physical. And so I'm healthy. I'm okay. And the truth is that there's nothing. This Harvard study shows, and all of the evidence in the world shows, that there's nothing about an annual physical, going to your doctor every single year and checking that box, that builds health in your life. Building health in your life, annual physicals don't prevent chronic disease. How you prevent chronic disease is every single day, the accumulation of the choices that you make changes your life, and it changes your health. And it's the times that you're going and you're getting adjusted, and you're managing that, you're taking that nervous system and you're keeping it at the optimal expression of life, right? You're taking your these food choices that you're making, the activity level that you have, the toxins around you. All of these things on a daily basis are the things that are going to change your life, and it is not your annual physical. And it gives you this false sense of security, right? As a patient, when you go there and you're like, oh, my doctor signed off on me. I'm great for the next year. Let's go toast and have a beer to this one.
What's the thing? Remember when you wanted to go on a field trip, you had to get
a waiver? Yes.
No. What do they call it?
No.
A slip.
A permission slip.
Permission slip.
Yes.
Remember you had to go get the permission slip? So that's like, you're going to your doctor every year to get like your permission slip signed to go on. But what's funny is frequently like the slip that you end up getting is a prescription slip, not a permission slip, right? So you're going in and you're like, best case scenario. Oh, here's the weird part is you have people that go in and they have high blood pressure, right? They get their prescription slip. Their doctor's like, oh, you have a clean bill of health.
Right.
Like I know people that are on 2 and 3 and 4 medications.
Yes.
And they're like, oh my, like I'll go, and I go through intake forms with these patients all the time. And I'm like, anything wrong in your health? They're like, no, my doctor told me I'm perfectly healthy. I'm like, oh, that's okay. And then I'll flip the page and I'm like, oh, you're on 4 medications. They're like, oh yeah. One's for high cholesterol, one's for high blood pressure. And then, I have asthma and, I don't know, whatever it is.
Right.
And I'm like, I thought you just told me your doctor told you you're perfectly healthy.
Those are all disease processes.
Oh yeah, those are all being managed. And I'm like, you have high blood pressure?
Right.
Oh yeah, but I'm on high blood pressure medication.
So,
but if you stop taking the high blood pressure medication, what would happen? Oh, my blood pressure would go through the roof.
Right.
Okay, it's being managed by and if you hear this and you think, well, yeah, that makes sense. That makes zero sense.
Right.
Because it's not getting to the root cause of the problem. Like you still have high blood pressure, you're now just a chemistry project.
Yes.
But if you look up the side effects to that drug, right?
Right.
And you go down the list of side effects, like may cause, I don't know, headaches, nausea, your hair to fall out and lose your toenails or whatever it is. And you go down.
You might poop yourself in the middle of the night, but you're going to be really skinny in the long
that's
run.
that's Ozempic.
Yeah, right.
But like you go down this list of side effects, you're like, oh wait, like why would that happen? Oh, because this chemical is actually interfering with other processes in your body. Yep. You're like, oh, they're managing my high blood pressure. It's like, yeah, yes, they're lowering your blood pressure, but they're creating all these other problems. They're not managing anything.
Right.
It's just this whole puppeteering of, we call it health, but it's not. They're just managing your state of disease.
Right.
And I'll hang my hat on this, that we're good at one thing in this country. And the one thing we're good at is keeping people asymptomatic, right? Drug induced, asymptomatic for a while until they're sick and miserable for the rest of their lives.
Right.
And it's like we're doing this thing.
That traditional medical model.
But eventually
1,000% that traditional medical model does that. And what the amazing thing right now is that we're seeing this shift. We're seeing the tides turning. We're seeing these Harvard studies coming out. We're seeing these medical doctors leaving in droves. We're seeing
RFK is now head of the, HHS or whatever. And we're seeing people leaving the CDC. The director of the CDC, one of the directors of the CDC just left. And what we're seeing is, things starting to be quite all these practices. So it started with annual exams, right? Now they're questioning and there's actually lawsuits. There's 4 or 5 lawsuits right now filed to challenge, the vaccine schedule. It's never been questioned ever in history.
Right.
We're starting to see these things happen.
Wonderful lawsuit actually happening, and in support of that, through
Stand for Health Freedom. Yeah.
Which is a wonderful organization to throw support behind. And the other really amazing thing too is that we're seeing this now. There's more accessibility for people in the city of Cincinnati right now. If you want to change your health, you very easily can come into our office, right? You don't have to manage symptoms anymore. Like you don't have to manage disease process anymore. One of the things you can do is you can have someone come right alongside you and guide you through the experience of building health.
So this is interesting because it's not about not seeing someone once a year.
Right.
Like we're not like, you don't need a doctor. Our patients come into our office weekly and bi-weekly. It's not about like, we don't think you shouldn't see someone. It's like once a year is actually a joke.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Like you go get your oil changed more frequently than that. You go to the dentist more frequently than that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's like, we're not saying like you should go see him less.
Right.
Now, I don't think you should go see a medical doctor more because I think that would be problematic. But if someone's working on your health, like when you go to the gym and you want to lose weight and you hire a personal trainer, you don't go see him once a year.
Right.
Like you're seeing him 3 times a week.
Yeah.
When you see a chiropractor, on average, people come in weekly.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Sometimes more if they're working on correcting a problem, sometimes less if they're under consistent maintenance care, but weekly is not, but it's not about not seeing someone. It's about what are the goals, what are the outcomes. And so we started this off, and I think this is where we're trying to get is 5 years ago, the world kind of, went through this experiment.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And then roughly 2 years later, the emperor had no clothes.
Yep.
And not only did the emperor have no clothes, he was robbing and stealing from the general public and committing all sorts of heinous crimes.
Sure.
And dupe the whole world into this thing. His name was Fauci, by the way. And this whole thing happened. And then to sit here and be talking about what we're talking about now and like all this stuff that's coming to fruition and how health is changing and all this, I never would have thought we would be here 5 years later from where we were, because the first 2 years were like, oh, this is going, I mean, I thought it was going to be
it's going really bad
in the wrong direction. And here we are now talking about things that are seemingly starting to come to light. And I think generally speaking, you talk to the American public, like the distrust. I was talking to someone the other day who said something about masks, and they're like, oh, and I said, well, who knows when the next time rolls around. They said, no, never again.
Never again.
I'll never do that again.
Which is good.
And nobody had that mentality the first time in because it hadn't been done. But now there's like this, no, never again. But then, but if it keeps swinging in this direction, right? Like towards what I would say the right way, what do the next 3 to 5 years look like, right?
Yes.
Like we just had an amazing grocery store open up down the street from us that largely has organic food.
Yep.
That you go into, and I don't want to call out brands, but you go into your typical grocery store, it's like the organic section's this big. Right. No, this place is like, it's hard to find inorganic vegetables in this place. You go down, every aisle has, gluten-free and this and that, and the milk, bare minimum. The bare minimum standard wasn't traditional, confined, large produced milk. It was bare minimum, RBST free, no growth hormones, no antibiotics, but like the large section of milk was all organic, pasture raised, like a totally different grocery store. So we're seeing that.
Here's what the cool thing is that this is where we're at, and this is the opportunity.
It's starting to shift.
What I love is that what we're doing coming back now, like we got years and years and years of Align Your Health, like old podcasts and radio show episodes and all sorts of things. And one of the amazing things is that now we get to come back and we get to help guide you through what does this look like? If it's not that, then what is this? Like, what is health? If the annual checkups are causing more harm than good, if the annual checkups, like what did they say? What was the exact language there? That they're actually not, they do not lower mortality rates, right? So then it's not just not going to the doctor. It's not just ignoring your health. That is not the right answer to building health in your body. And so this is one of the opportunities that we get to do now. We get to come on this podcast, we get to share, and we get to do it every single week in our office with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of patients that adds up to thousands a month, where we get to help guide them through their health. And guess what? you and I don't directly change anybody's health. It's the decision that they make. It's the compounding decisions of that individual that they make that really change your health. And so this is the invitation. This is the opportunity.
I guess to end on that note is like, it's inspiring and it's encouraging to see it shifting, because we've literally been waiting 20 years. Like, we've been doing it, practicing in our families. And like all these people that go to annual exams, I think they're trying to be proactive, 100%. Right? But I think the jig is up, and now they're realizing like, oh, I was trying to be proactive, but I was participating in the system that, number one, A, didn't fix the problem, but B, it led me down this road of now I'm on 3 medications. Yeah. And so being proactive in the right areas, because you can, the analogy, I love this analogy of like, you turn out of your driveway and you're trying to go to Florida, and if you turn the wrong way out of your driveway and drive 1,000 miles in the wrong direction, like, you drive the exact right distance, but the first turn was wrong, you can end up double the distance away from the destination you wanted to. Right. And I think that's the idea of like, people are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to be proactive, but they just made that first turn was wrong. Right. And they headed 10 years in the wrong direction. Right.
They're in Michigan right now, and they're trying to get to Naples. You're not getting you got to go there.
I grew up there. It's not Florida. Right. God bless Michigan, but it's not Florida. And so this idea of like, now we're starting to see this come to fruition where people are starting to, and I love this for the next generation, right? What if they grew up and annual exams weren't a thing? What if they grew up and our organic produce was a thing? What if they grew up and 72 shots by 18 wasn't a thing? What if they grew up and there's this whole thing for the next generation? What if our kids got to raise children in a culture that was wildly different? I mean, when we were young, it wasn't like it is today. And my hope is it won't be for our kids like it is today. So there's this weird experiment that happened in the middle. And I really hate that for kids who grew up during that time frame. But I think even them, they're getting to experience this. So I think it's extremely hopeful. It's exciting. We get to be a part of it. We get to watch the healing happen all the time. And I think that's really why we do this every single week.
And we get to come on here every single week and help guide and direct and process some of those things that are like, which way do we go? Are we going left? Are we going right? Are we going straight? How do we get there? How do we do this? And that's the exciting thing that we get to do every single day with patients, and then also right here.
And I think if you're looking to establish a relationship with a doctor who's concerned about your health and seeing you actually heal and get healthy, we would love to work with you. The easiest way is to go to our website, click the link to schedule a new patient appointment, and we would love to get in touch with you.